Hello, everyone. Shall we begin? Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samastagana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Para Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gururadiranadirshcha Guru Paramadaivatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Na Guroradikam Tattvam Na Guroradikam Tapaha Tattvanyana Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Harihi Om. Hari Om. Welcome back, everyone. So we're doing Upanishad Vidyasar, which is a string of 25 mantras strung together by Pujya Guruji, which will give us the essence of all the Upanishadic Vidya. We began with the Shanti mantra, Om Sahana Bhavatu. Then we went on to the Mangalacharan, which is the auspicious invocation, which indicates the subject matter with the result as well, which was Yo Brahmanam Vidadati Purvam, Yo Vai Vedamscha Prahinoti Tasmai, Tam Hadevam Atma Buddhi Prakasham, Mumukshurvai Sharanam Aham Prapadye. In the beginning, earlier, the Lord manifested as Brahma, gave him the knowledge of the Vedas. To that Purusha, to that infinite, I, as a Mumukshu, offer my prostrations. So I, as a Mumukshu, a student, now what do I do? And that was the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. I, as a student, after examining life in its entirety and recognizing the finitude of results achieved by finite actions and still seeking the eternal, which I know not what it is, but yet I know I want something else. Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmana nirvedamaya na asti krita kritena. Tat vijnanartham sa guru eva vigachet samitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. I then approach a guru who is a shrotriya brahmanishta, and that is from the Mundaka Upanishad. So I approached the guru. The Mundaka Upanishad continues, Tasmai savidvan upasannaya samyak prashanta chittaya shamanvitaya yenaksharam purusham veda satyam provachatam tattvato brahma vidyam. The Shishya Lakshana and the Guru Lakshana are indicated here, and how the student should meet the teacher. The student who has quietened his mind to some extent and approaches the teacher. Upasannaya samyak, with due respect and due humility, The teacher, who is a Shrotriya, Brahmanishta, he is well versed in the scriptures and established in the truth, must teach him only Brahma Vidya. So what is Brahma Vidya? We then move to the Taittiriya Upanishad, and it says, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Yo Veda Nitam Guhayam, Parame Vyoman, Soshnute Sarvan Kamaan Saha Brahmana Vipaschiteti. This, what I am seeking, what the teacher should teach me, Brahma Vidya, is this Brahman, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which is truth, which is existence, consciousness, bliss, infinite. Where is it? What is that knowledge? Where is it? It's located in my own heart, in the space, sacred space of my own heart. Parame Vyoman. What happens when I gain that? So Shnute Sarvan Kaman Saha. Gaining that, everything that I ever desired is gained at one and the same time, either because I have no more desires left, or I have become the entire ocean in which everything already exists. Therefore, there's nothing else to add to that. How is that done? Brahmana Vipaschiteti, by recognizing that I am that infinite consciousness, Chit. That brings us to mantra number 5. So the student has approached the teacher. Teacher is giving him Brahma Jnana and says, this is in the cave of my own heart. As what? As Atman. So then the question now is, what is this Atma, which is in the cave of my own heart, recognizing which I become totally and completely fulfilled. Mantra number 5, which again is from the Mundaka Upanishad. So we went back to Mundaka, and it goes like this. Divyo Hyamurtha Purushaha Sabahya Bhyantaro Hyajaha Apranuhyamanaha Shubbraha Yaksharat Parata Paraha. So there are 6 things we have to discuss today at the minimum. What is Atman? And how is it possible that I am Atman and not what I currently think I am? So first, what is Atman? We've done what is Brahman. Now, what is Atman and how is Atman Brahman? And what is Atman and how come I am something other than Atman? So what is involved here is what is known as Atma Anatma Vivek, which is the discriminative capacity which we must develop to recognize what is Atma and what is non-Atma. Vivek Chudamani begins with that. Atma Anatma Vivechanam Svanubhavo. Each of us must in our own selves do this Atma Anatma Vivek so that Sthiti in Brahman is possible. Brahmatmana Samsthiti. So if we go slowly, the words used here are Divya, Amurtaha, Purushaha, Bahya, Abhyantaro, Ajaha, Apranaha, Amanaha, Shubbraha, Aksharat, Parataparaha. Each word must bounce and reveal itself. Each word. Nothing is superfluous. So if we begin with, we can begin with 2 levels. Why is Atman Brahman or why am I not? Let's see how it goes. So Divya, Divya comes from the root word Div. Div means divine. It means self-shining, effulgent. So if Divya means self-shining, effulgent, then this Atman is self-shining. In the Vedic mantra, we do that. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. The sun, the moon, the stars, they do not have their own light. Nema vidyoti bhanti kutoyam agni. What more ordinary fires? Where does it get its light? Tameva bhantam. Because of your light, anubhati. Anu, after. Anu means after. Because of your light, anubhati sarvam. Everything else gets its light after you. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vivati. It's because of your light that everything else gets lit. So therefore, this Atman is self-shining. It needs nothing else to shine it or give it its light of consciousness. So Divya is therefore light, consciousness, which is what? Chit. So Chit Ananda, we go back to first principles. Chit, consciousness, is Divya. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Jnanam is Atman. Atman therefore is Chit. Atman is consciousness. Atman is Jnanam. First thing is said here. So it is Chit. It is consciousness. Divya. That's what the word Divya indicates. What are the other words here? Purushaha. Ajaha. Okay. Ajaha. Ajaha means unborn. If something is unborn, it is not subject to change. It always was, is, and will remain the same. If something is born, must it change, decay, and die. If something is unborn, it is the very principle of existence itself. And if something is not born and it remains the same in the past, present, and future, as existence, it is known as Satyam. That's where the word Satyam comes from. So Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Satyam, therefore, is because it is Ajaha. Sat also is existence. So the principle of existence, which is unborn, which is truth, is this Atman. Now, where is it? We said earlier, Parame Vyoman. It exists in the cave, sacred space of our heart. Here it is saying Bahya and Antara. It is neither outside nor is it inside. Means it is both outside and inside. You're not confining it to one place. The analogy given is space. You've got a pot, and we say pot space. And the pot is in the living room space. And the living room is in the space of the community, the society, London. Space is given a name relative to the limiting adjuncts, limiting to the upadhis, the technical term. So because you have a pot, we say pot space, then you say living room space, then we say London space. So when it says that this is not inside nor outside, it is both inside and outside, is what it means, that it is saying this with reference to our body. Because relative to our body, we say is something outside or something inside. Now, before we even go there, how can it be inside and outside? This is my body. Now, I think I am this body. In fact, everybody thinks they are this body. Because there's nothing else for me to physically hold on to. Now, if this Atman is me and it is neither inside nor outside, then that negates the very concept that I am this gross physical body. Has anyone seen a dead body? No matter how close they are to you, once the body is gone, once the prana is gone, you don't even want to see it, let alone touch it, bathe it, which you have to do as a Hindu. It's hard work. A lot of people don't do it. So once the prana is gone, that physical body, no matter how close it was to you, you may hug it for what? 30 minutes, an hour? and then you want them to take it away. So our love with the physical body is not because of the physical body, but because of something else. So if this Atman is neither inside nor outside, or it is both inside and outside, it cannot be my physical body, my physical form, which is known as the Sthula Sharira. And how did that come about? The word Amurta. Divya Hyamurta. Amurta means no form. The body has a physical form. So if it's Amurta, it has no physical form. Therefore, Atma Anatma Vivek is happening here. I cannot be my physical body. Negate the gross body. Then you say, you know what? It's fine. This Thula Sharira, this gross body is not me. I understand. That everybody understands. But there's something in me, the pranas, the mind, the intellect, that is me. That is known as Sukshma Sharira, which is the subtle body. So why cannot not be the subtle body? Well, the word here is aprana. This Atma is aprana. It is not the pranas. He amanaha. He indeed, verily, amanaha. It is not the mind. It is not the pranas. It is not the mind, which I think I am now, subtle body. So that is negated. Again, Atma, Anatma, Vivechanam is happening. Atma, Anatma, Vivek is happening. I'm not the gross body because of Amurta. Amurta means formless. So I'm different from the Atma is different from the physical body. I may be the subtle body, but apranaha, ammanaha negates that. I'm not even the subtle body, which is known as the Sukshma Sharira. Then you say, well, maybe the only third thing I know is my vasanas, also known as the causal body. It is called the causal body because it is the cause of my subtle body and my gross body. Aneka Janma, through millions of lives, I have accumulated all these vasanas, all these inherent tendencies, which leads to certain desires, which can only be exhausted with a certain mind and a certain intellect and a certain physical body. So the Karana Sharira, Karana, causal body, is the cause of my subtle and my gross body. So why am I not that? Because that's who I am. It says, He aksharat parata paraha. Indeed, verily, akshara, this imperishable, the word used is imperishable, unmanifest ignorance expressed as vasanas, parata paraha, it is beyond that. So this Atman is not the gross body. It is not the subtle body, not the stula, not the sharira, not the karana, not the causal body. Parata paraha. Parata paraha means it is beyond. Now we use that term, it is beyond. It is not me. But I have a gross body, I have a subtle body, I have a causal body. How do you explain that? Vedanta says start from where you are. I start from a gross, subtle, and causal. Now you're saying this Atman, which is what really I am in the cave of my own heart, is not the gross, not the subtle, and not the causal. Then the question is, what is it? Where did it come from? It's there. The key word is parata paraha, which means it is beyond. Beyond means it is untouched. unfazed, uninvolved. In its presence, they exist. It illumines both, all the sthula, the sukshma, and the karana. It illumines the good and the bad. It is beyond the good and the bad. It illumines the beautiful and the ugly. It is beyond that. It illumines. Still not clear. I know. Gurudev in the Bhagavad Gita uses this famous statements. They are in me, I am not in them. Everything in the ocean is in the ocean. The ocean is not in them. Now, if you physically think, you say, oh, well, that still doesn't make sense. The small wave, the big wave, the ripple, the lava, the foam are in the ocean, but the ocean is not in them. Each wave is a temporary, transient effect on the surface of the ocean that is born, rises, attains a certain form, size, shape, decays, and dies into the ocean. The ocean cannot be the wave. In the presence of the ocean, the wave's existence is facilitated. But the ocean is not the wave. The wave is in the ocean. They are in me, I am not in them. The ocean is unconcerned with what's happening on the surface. Whether it's a big wave, a small wave, the ocean remains the ocean. Let the waves play. So parataparaha is a very important word. It is beyond, untouched, uninvolved, not dependent on. But everything else is dependent on that Atman, but the Atman is not dependent on. The Atman facilitates what the waves are. Now, I'll not go beyond and talk a bit of it being the obvious answer next is it's an appearance, but that's further down, much further down in our study. Any questions before we move on?
What is the meaning of Aksharat? I understood the Parampara, but what is Aksharat?
Aksharat means imperishable, indestructible. That's what it's referring to there is the ajnana, ignorance, manifesting as vasanas, an unmanifest form. It's all unmanifest in us until it erupts.
Oh, yeah.
So Aksharat is imperishable ignorance which has been there since time immemorial.
Yes, thanks.
Suresh, may I ask something?
Yes, please.
Going back to the ocean comparison, when you say the waves, the waves are in me, but isn't the ocean the waves? It's just a different form of the ocean, isn't it? But the oceans are the waves.
Once we recognize that, we are done. Inherent in your question is our quest. Isn't the ocean the wave? That's a beautiful question. Isn't the Atma Tattva me? And isn't that Atma Tattva Brahman? Now me is a small wave, well, a fat wave. Jessica is a thin wave. So this fat wave and thin wave think we are waves. And your question is, isn't the ocean the wave? And my answer is, absolutely. But right now, I think I'm a fat wave, and she thinks she's a thin wave. And we continue to be waves. And the Guru, the Lord through the Guru is trying to tell us, you are neither the thin wave nor the fat wave. You are the content of the wave, which is water. When I say, yes, I'm water, and she says, I'm water, I'm pure water, you're more dirty water, and we still fight. And then the Guru says, no, you are just pure water. Shuddha, Shubhra, that word is coming. Shuddha water. And you say, okay, I'm Shuddha water, but I'm still pure water. Arey, but that pure water is the same as the oceanic pure water. Ah, I get it now. Okay.
This is the miracle of meeting Guruji.
So this is a miracle of what?
Meeting Guruji when I went to Mumbai.
It's phenomenal. I'm glad you did. It's your good prarabdha that you got the chance to meet him. Any other questions? So where are we? Aprano Yamuna Shubhra. Okay, now that was the word we didn't yet hit. Shubhra means Shuddha. Shuddha means pure. If it's pure, it cannot be anything else. Against Atma and Atma Vivek. Now I cannot fathom pure. What I can do is negate the impure. So when I negate what I think I am, the gross body, the physical body, the causal body, then what remains is that pure Shuddha Chaitanya, which is consciousness. And Aksharat Parata Parata also means it is beyond all our upadhis. This gross body, physical body, subtle body, causal body is known as upadhis, is a technical term. And upadhis, again, definition is in the proximity of that, it throws its property upon, yet brings no intrinsic change. Such an entity is known as an upadhi. And examples given are several, but two of the ones which stick is that in the presence of a prism, glass prism, I bring a red handkerchief. The red handkerchief is an upadhi to the crystal prism because in its proximity, the red handkerchief throws its color upon the prism. The prism appears red, but no intrinsic change is brought upon the prism by that red handkerchief. So the red handkerchief is known as an upadhi to the prism. And Guruji likes to use a university degree as a good example. In the proximity of a university degree, I assume the properties of a master's student, and I think I'm very smart, but that university degree has brought no intrinsic change upon me. I still remain a lallu buddhu.
Very good.
Now, here. In Sanskrit, upa samipe stitva, sviyam rupam, anyatra adadati makes no change, iti upadhi. So what is this Atma Tattva? From a top, we could take a macro and micro approach. Macro approach, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Sat Chit Ananda, Satyam, truth. And cannot be contradicted in all three periods of time. Sat, principle of existence, is Satyam. Here, Atma is Ajaha, unborn. Jnanam, knowledge. Chit, consciousness. Here, Atma is Divya. Divya, self-shining. Anantam, infinite. Anandam, pure bliss. The word used here, which we have not covered actually, for Atman is what? Anyone? See if you guys are listening.
Purushaha.
Sorry?
Purushaha.
Purushaha. Perfect. Thank you. Purushaha Purnatva. This Atman is Purna. Purna, complete, infinite, totally fulfilled. Kritakrityascha Bharata, which is totally fulfilled, nothing else to gain, nothing else to. that Purnatvat Purushaha is Anantam, is Anandam. So you have Sat Chit Ananda, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Ajaha Divyaha Purushaha for the Atman. So you now have an equation equating Atman to Brahman. Both are Satyam Jnanam Anantam as Ajaha Divyaha Purushaha at the macro level. At a micro level, which is my level, I am this gross body, physical body. I am this subtle body, this mind, this pranas. I am this causal body, this timeless ignorance expressed as vasanas and my causal body. This Atman, it says, is amurtaha, formless. If it is formless, then it cannot be my gross body. If it is inside and outside, it cannot be my gross body. Apranaha, it cannot be my physiological functions. Amanaha, it cannot be my mind or intellect. So that's negated. Atma, through Atma and Atma Vivek, it is negating the Atman is not my gross body, not my subtle body. And the last one is Akshara Parataparaha. It cannot be my causal body because this unmanifested causal state, imperishable, it cannot be that either. Parataparaha enables it. In its presence it happens, but it is not. It is beyond that. So through this Atma and Atma Vivek, I negate my gross, subtle, causal. I am this Atman which is in the cave of my own heart. This Atman is equated to Brahman, which is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. And that I am. That Aham Asmi.
Suresh ji,
Yes.
I was just thinking how this mantra 5 is, it kind of circles back to Satyam, Gnanam, Anantam. Like if you take each thing, Satyam, it has all these features, like it's Amurtaha, it's Aksharat, it's Shubhraha. In the same way, Gnanam is also each thing, Anantam is also each thing. And that kind of like, gives that whole picture that Brahman is all these features in one, isn't it?
Correct. Even this feature is not the right word because feature means it's an adjective. And as we said last year, it's not even an adjective. Satyam is Jnanam. Jnanam is Anantam. Anantam is Sat. Sat is Chit. Chit is Anandam. Here it's saying this Anandam therefore is Divyaha. It is Ajaha. And it is Purushaha. So a tautology has been created here between Atman and Brahman, and a mechanism for us to do this Atma and Atma Vivek from where we are has been done in the most beautiful way, Mundaka Upanishad. This is the big revelation of Vedanta right here. We've hit the crux of it. This is the bottom line of Vedanta. We've just hit this tautology. And the means of realizing it, which is this Atma and Atma Vivek. Any questions?
When we are practically trying to do the Atma and Atma Vivek, I guess we can only do it against two of the features, right? Like Sat. So, you're able to test for, is what I'm thinking of as myself the same that existed in all three periods of time? So you're looking for, is it the truth principle that was there across the three periods of time? And then Chit, which is like, okay, was that conscious? I mean, if when I'm awake, I know that I'm awake, but I don't know about or sort of, okay, when I wake up from deep sleep, I know that I was sleeping, so that consciousness is there. So you can test against Sat and Chit, but Ananda is just going to have to be an experience, right? Or is there something there when we're doing Atma and Atma Vivek?
There's good reflection, but a harder kind of reflection. But it's definitely a more subtle reflection. The grosser reflection is from where I am, from my standpoint. And now I'm extremely proud of who I am. I just worked out. I got a six-pack. Or I went to the shop and I bought the fanciest, most expensive makeup. And I make myself up and I look beautiful for like an hour. And the next morning, I can't even look at my own self because the makeup has come off. This is the kind of viveka that I cannot be this gross body. Therefore, why am I so attached to not just my gross body, but to someone else? That I cannot live without them. My dependence is on them. That's the kind of Atmanatma Vivek. Then you know what? I'm brilliant. I'm sharp. I'm smart. I'm good. I know how to do stuff. Subtle body, ego. Then you begin to realize I'm not even the subtle body. And therefore, where from this ego? And the most powerful ego is the spiritual ego. Material egos everybody has. The most powerful spiritual ego isn't become encrusted. That if I'm not even the subtle body, then where did this pride come from? So that kind of Vivek, the most important word in Vedanta, Vivek, then that starts to negate the subtle body. Then what about the ignorance, all my vasanas? Am I that? Well, it clearly says that I'm not that either, which means again the equivalent is all my experience in the waking state, Sthula Sharira, all the experiences in my dream state, Sukshma Sharira, all the experiences in my dream state, causal body, or the absence of it, is not me, is not me, is not me. So in Atma and Atma Vivek, negation is the most important thing to do. Because assertion becomes difficult because we cannot assert what we do not know, which is only possible through Tatastha Lakshana, not Swarupa Lakshana. And therefore, I cannot assert what I cannot even fathom. I can negate what I do know currently. But what you suggest is a very high level, very subtle, which is good if you're able to do that as well. That I am Sat, this is not happening. I am Chit, this is not happening. I am Anandam. Why am I miserable when I am Anandam? It's a good reflection.
No, but you make a very good point that it's then you're just doing thought gymnastics because you read something and you're like, okay, this is what it should be. But I think negation is you're starting from where you are, and I think that's more important.
It is very powerful. Vedanta, and over time, it begins to sink in. Initially, it's hard. But the more and more you listen, the more and more you study, the more and more the mind becomes pure. How does the mind become pure? By service. Chinmaya Mission does two things, nothing else really. We have all these plethora of projects, and people come and explain over 3 days what it is Chinmaya Mission does. The bottom line is we do two things. Who can tell me what we do? What's the bottom line of Chinmaya Mission?
Spread knowledge,
And the second?
make you aware of it, make you look into yourself and think and focus about it, not just hear and go away.
Okay. Two things. So that still falls into category 1.
Okay.
Category 2.
The means to know it.
Sorry.
Sandeep?
I was going to say it makes you a positive contributor to society. So the karma yoga aspect.
Seva. Simple. Seva and jnana is really what we do. Bhakti may come en route if you're lucky. And Vairagya is the last thing which will go. But Seva, look at CM75. What are we doing? Two things which were picked. Bhagavad Gita, Jnanam, Hanuman Chalisa, Hanuman, absolutely, the embodiment of Seva. Gurudev had 2 messages, Seva, Jnana, and everything else will happen. So my point was through seva, the grace of comes in the form of purity, clarity. So all this information which we have gathered becomes our own. So both go hand in hand.
Very well.
Yes.
I had a question. At the start, you said that we need to develop Atman and Atman Viveka in ourselves, and so that sthiti is possible. What do you mean by sthiti? Do you mean abidance or
Brahmatmana samsthiti. Vivekachudamani says, Atma anatma vivechanam svanubhavo brahmatmana samsthiti. So by doing Atma anatma vivek, this abidance, establishing oneself in Brahman becomes possible.
So I really like these kinds of verses. I've never studied the Mundaka Upanishad, so it's really nice to approach this one. But the observation here is that if one was to successfully discriminate and to literally apply it through each one of the principles laid out in this verse, you will reach a point where nothing you know is real, starting from your micro level, from where I am today, which for most people will be a scary prospect, will be really scary. Which is why I think in one of the earlier verses, I think it was the previous one, or maybe the one before, we talked about faith. Faith in oneself, faith in Guru, faith in scriptures, faith in the Lord. Because without that, you can get very easily lost with trying to discriminate on this, because you will reach a point where I don't know. But it's so nice and crystal clear here that actually it is not possible. It's not just it is not possible to be any of the things that I believe myself to be.
The only thing I will add to that is it won't become difficult, or unreal, or unfathomable, or mind-blowing, because what are we doing? And I think, Krishna, you put this on the reflections group, which was a beautiful thing of when Guruji explained this week how to get rid of putra moha, which is our attachment to our children. And so the same principle applies here, which is if there's a teaspoon of salt in a cup, it is extremely salty. If that cup now becomes a bucket, you can sip it. If it becomes a swimming pool, you can drink it. If it becomes the ocean, the salt is still there, but you can't even taste it. So this process is expanding the subtlety of our mind so that whatever problems we have now, we are seeing from not 1 foot, but from 1,000 feet, 30,000, 50,000. And its perspectives, vision, that begins to change. You know, and if we just analyze our own lives, we are born. I have a grandson, and now the way I analyze him, I look at it, tick, the clock has begun from cradle to grave. I know it's a brutal thing to say, but that's basically it. We are all time bound, tick, 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 tick. We've got a can with tomatoes, milk, and it's getting expired every day. And rather than focusing on what the purpose of my existence in this body is, I go around playing, arguing, fighting, developing enemies, talking nonsense. Just the quality of my life does not reflect even an iota of understanding of who am I and why am I here in a Titanic which is bound to sink, and I'm dancing. On another note, next year is Chinmay 75. So it's a really big project which we are taking up globally, which is two themes, Bhagavad Gita and Hanuman Chalisa. In the UK and Europe, we'll be having a 75 city yatra, where we will go from city to city, town to town, groups of 2, 3, 4, 5 sevaks. So if anyone on this call wants to join that, please let me know and I'll put you in touch with Rupesh, who's handling that. And you can go, and it'll go to a community center, a temple, and giving a talk on Hanuman Chalisa or Bhagavad Gita, saying some bhajans, showcase Gurudev, Chinmay Mission, Vedanta, give some prasad pustikas, establish contacts, and come. Our job is to, whatever little we have gained, let's spread it to everyone around UK and Europe. Part of that, Swamiji and Guruji have composed 5 verses of the Bhagavad Gita, which every Hindu in posterity from today on for the next millennia should memorize and chant on a daily basis at least once. The reason is the Bhagavad Gita is what binds all Hindus together, given the millions of sampradayas we have and the plethora of gods we have, each of which is valid in its own right. But the one thing which binds us together is the Bhagavad Gita. And there are many, many of us who cannot chant even one verse of the Bhagavad Gita. So in order to bind us all in as one community, 5 verses have been chosen, which gives us the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. I'll put that on the chat, and if you can memorize that from next week onwards, after every class, we can chant them together. The first one is Uddharet Atmanatmanam, arise, awake. It's the first thing one needs to do. You are your own worst enemy. You are your own best friend. After you've arisen, do not degrade yourself. So it's what you need to do as a person. Next one, Karmanyevadhikaraste. How should you act in the world? By giving up the fruits. You do your part, let the Lord do his part. Do not engage in inaction because you will lose your talents. Third one, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you do in tapas, offer it at the feet of the Lord as your offering to him. Yad karoshi, yad ashnashi, yad joshi, yad tapasvasi, kaunteya, tat kurushasva madarpanam, offer it to me. These 3 things we have to do. Then you leave it to the Lord. Allow it to happen. They say make it happen. This is allow it to happen. Achintya chintayantu mam ye janan pariupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam bahamyaham. When you leave it on to me, I will take care of your yoga and your shema, your bhakti and your mukti. And the final one is sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishami mashucha. Surrendering everything to me, I will deliver you from ignorance to liberation. So these 5 verses, if you can pass it down to everyone you know, every Hindu that walks past you, your children, your grandchildren, it's the greatest contribution we can make to Hindu Dharma, to Vedanta, to ourselves and to our families. It's known as Gita Panchamrit. I will post it with the chanting on the group. So even though it will officially be launched in December, this is you've got a preview to it. Let's start now. Any thoughts? To finish quickly today, 10 minutes to go. So the floor is yours.
I'm just thinking, Suresh Uncle, as a sadhana to to really reflect on this verse over the week, is it that at every, whenever one has that sort of moment during the day to just do that Atma Anatma Viveka, is that what it is? Just to constantly see if you can keep coming back to it in any given situation to then lift the vision above that kind of day-to-day transactional level?
It's phenomenal. If during the day we can just keep that principle in mind, that that I'm other than what I think I am, there is something else enabling me. Just that thought in itself is very empowering. Just that thought, which is the theme of Mundaka Upanishad, the two birds, one pecking on the fruit, the other just watching. So as you peck on the fruit, just remember there's someone watching me. What is that? What is that? What is that? And that's a very powerful symbol to keep in mind. As I peck away too much, there's someone behind me who's been waiting for a long time for me to turn back. Which shloka is that, Mundaka Upanishad? I forget, which is not good. Anyone remember? Two birds? Two birds.
I know the story, but I don't know the verse in the Upanishad. I know the story, but not which part of not the Sanskrit words.
Words. I need the first word. Dvav suparna sayuja sakhaya samana vrikshe parishasva jate. Tayoranya pipalam swaduvati anashtananyo abichakashiti. Two birds. Dvav suparna sayuja sakhaya. Two birds sitting on a tree. One is eating the pipalam fruit, the other is watching. And that's a very powerful image in Swanubhuti Vatika, in the middle of that garden. If you see it, it's a beautiful tree with two birds sitting there. The king. Thank God. Roshni, how is it in Vibhuti?
Great. We have lots coming up.
Any other thoughts?
Suresh Uncle, you talked about that we would discuss like why Atman is Brahman and how come I'm something other than Atman. So just why Atman is Brahman is because it shares the same qualities, like that's
For lack of better
and
qualities.
yeah. And I'm not I see myself as something other just because of the identification, right? So I'm identified with the gross body, the subtle and the causal.
Exactly. So this established the tautology by giving the same quote unquote descriptors used, indicative definitions for Brahman were given for Atman as Sat Chetananand through Ajaha, Divya, and Purusha. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Then there cannot be two Sats and two Chits and two Anandams.
The answer to the first question is also that I am both within and without, i.e., the limitations are in me, I am not in the limitations. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reason I feel finite and limited is because I'm identified with this fat, gross body. But if I'm not this gross body, because it says I'm unlimited, then I understand that I'm limited because of my identification with the gross or even the subtle. That's why the word is amurta, formless. Okay, we will continue next week. Alex, any questions? Any more questions?
So, Rishi, can I just make an observation?
Yeah.
It's interesting when Roshni is speaking, when somebody's speaking, when you're speaking, that you keep using the word I identify myself with this, I identify myself. So we're already starting to think of ourselves as something outside, isn't it? Who is that I that we are referring to? So we're already starting that process. Is that
Absolutely. Absolutely. From the small I, we're beginning to identify with the bigger I. And that's the evolution. From Aham Suresh Asmi to Aham Brahma Asmi, that evolution.
so? I keep going on about this. I'm sorry. When I met Guruji, one of the questions I asked is that when we'd finished the Kripala Gita, we'd said one of the main things was the Soham thing that we sort of keep contemplating. And I got a bit confused with that because I thought, okay, then so should I start using that in my meditation? And it sort of didn't quite sit right, didn't work. And so I asked Guruji, actually, what is, what are the mantras we should be using? And he said, like Soham, Aham Brahmasi are Mahavakyas, and you shouldn't be using them as a japa. But you use them to contemplate all the time. So it's the verses, phrases that you contemplate on. And that brings us very much back down to this reflection, isn't it? On I'm not this, I'm not that, and what we've been talking about today. But it's all fits. It sort of, for me, is starting to come together and make sense in a way.
Good. I'm glad you asked that question. Yeah, Guruji's spot on. But they're not mantras to be used for japa, but to be used for contemplation.
Hi, can I ask something? Clarification. These slokas, the one we did today, it's similar to what Adi Shankara has said in the Nirvana Ashtakam. Is that right? Aham nirvikalpo nirakara rupo.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. That Nirvana Shatkam is beautiful mantra designed for negation, and assertion.
Thank you.
Okay, we will continue next week, 19th. And then we have one more on the 16th. And then I'll let you know, because I'm gone for almost 3 months after. But wherever I am in India, we'll continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A lot to think about.